Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, so welcome. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Mikala Mataji. Jai.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, yeah. Today I cannot talk, I don't have a voice.
That's okay. If there is anything you can write in the chat.
Yes. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Thank you for joining. So
Yes.
we're also on the YouTube. So let's just dive right into it. Oh, I lost my book. Sorry, I have to take it up again. Yeah, here it is. Śrī Īśopaniṣad. So we'll take text 1 again, since it was missed. A lot of it was missed last time. Unfortunately, we had bad connection last time, but today we will do better. I think so. Yeah. So mantra 1. Ishavasyam idam sarvam yat kincha jagatyam jagat tena tena bunjitaha magridha kasya svidhanam. Everything animate or inanimate that is within the universe is controlled and owned by the Lord. One should therefore accept only those things necessary for himself, which are set aside as his quota, and one must not accept other things, knowing well to whom they belong. Yes. So the purport. So here in this purport, Prabhupada is explaining more about the Vedas, and also about why we need the Vedas, which he also actually explained in the introduction. But the introduction was taken from a class he had on Vedas, but it actually says the same thing as he's saying here in the first paragraph. The Vedic knowledge is infallible because it comes down through the perfect disciplic succession of spiritual masters, beginning with the Lord himself. The Vedic knowledge is received from the transcendental sources, and the first word was spoken by the Lord himself. The words spoken by the Lord are called auparosheya, not delivered by any person of the mundane world. A living being of the mundane world has 4 defects, which are: 1. That he must commit mistakes. 2. He must sometimes be illusioned. 3. He must try to cheat others. And 4. He is endowed with imperfect senses. So that was the acronym MIKI. I write that here. Mistakes. What was the next one? Illusion. And cheating. And imperfect senses. Yeah. So if you just divide that little space, you'll see that acronym. It's easy to remember. Yeah, you can see that one. Michi, Miki. Yeah. With these 4 principles of imperfection, one cannot deliver perfect information in a matter of all-pervading knowledge. The Vedas are not known like that. How are the Vedas known? The Vedic knowledge was originally imparted into the heart of Brahma, the first created living being, and Brahma in his turn disseminated the knowledge to his sons and disciples, who have continued the process down through history. So that is called parampara. Yeah? We'll write that also. Veda parampara. So how to understand the Vedas? They have to be understood through the parampara. And who is starting the parampara? Lord Brahma. So parampara is also sometimes called sampradaya. Yeah. So we are in the Brahma sampradaya. But then it's linking further. But basically it's the Brahma sampradaya. You have 4 sampradayas. Brahma sampradaya. You have the 3 others are right now. The Rudra sampradaya, Kumara sampradaya, and Lakshmi. Yeah. Or Śrī Sampradaya. Śrī is more often used. Yeah. Śrī Sampradaya. It's another word for Lakshmi there. So we are in the Brahma Sampradaya. Is it clear? The Lord being Purnam or all perfect, there is no chance of his being subjected to the laws of material nature. While the living entities and inanimate objects are all controlled by the laws of nature and thus ultimately by the potency of the Lord. Yeah. This Upanishad is a part of the Yajurveda, and as such it contains information as to the proprietorship of all things that exist within the universe. This point is confirmed by the Bhagavad Gita in the 7th chapter, where para and apara prakriti are discussed. The elements of nature, earth, water, fire, air, sky, mind, intelligence, and ego, all belong to the inferior or material energy of the Lord, whereas the living being, the organic energy, is the superior energy, the para prakriti, of the Lord. Both the prakritis or energies are emanations from the Lord, and ultimately he is the controller of everything that exists. There is nothing in the universe which does not belong either to the para or the apara prakriti, and therefore everything is under the proprietary right of the Supreme Being. Now we lost the connection here. Now it's back. Okay. We can take a look at that verse again. Doesn't hurt. Let's see. I'll just open up a new window for that. Yeah. Let's take a look at that reference here. See if we can do this. Krishna willing, it will work. It doesn't look like we can get it. Okay, anyway, the verse from Bhagavad Gita, it says, Earth, water, fire, air, and ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. These are the 8 elements, which are my separated material energies. Then Krishna goes on to say that besides these, there is another superior energy of mind which comprises the living entities who are exploiting the resources of this material inferior nature. So that is the reference Prabhupada has here to the para and apara prakritis. So what is the para prakriti? Para, that is spiritual, yeah. And apara, that is material, yeah, inferior. And of course then the para is superior. So both the prakritis or energies are emanations from the Lord, and ultimately he is the controller of everything that exists. There is nothing in the universe which does not belong either to the para or apara prakriti, and therefore everything is under the proprietary right of the Supreme Being. The Supreme Being, the Absolute Personality of Godhead, being the complete person, has the complete and perfect intelligence to adjust everything by his different potencies. The Supreme Being is often compared with fire, and everything organic and inorganic is compared with the heat and light of the fire. So how did we understand that? I don't remember if we went into that last time, but we can do it now. So it means is Brahman. Yeah. That's the energy we talk about here. Lord's energy. It doesn't show up on YouTube. Okay, so I have to just I'll put it more down. Yeah. Don't have any space. I can put it on the side maybe. Here. Now we talk about Brahman. I'll put that here. It's also not visible. Yeah. Here we can put. Yeah. So so that means Brahman, that is the effulgence of the Lord. Does it make sense? A full of the Lord. Let's just say God. The effulgence of God. So in that sense, he is not directly Brahman, or is he? Well, in one sense you can say he is, because it's coming from him, and he is absolute. But he is something more also. He is Bhagavan. But his effulgence contains everything, because that's his energy, and in that energy all material emanations are there, even spiritual emanations. Yeah. The fire distributes energy in the form of heat and light, and likewise the Lord displays his energy in different ways, and he remains the ultimate controller, sustainer, and dictator over everything. He is full of all potencies, the knower of everything, the benefactor of everyone, and is full of all inconceivable opulences, power, wealth, fame, beauty, knowledge, and renunciation. So there Prabhupada just mentioned the 6 opulences of the Lord, which are full power, full wealth, full fame, full beauty, full knowledge, and full renunciation. So that's why he is called Bhagavan. That's a definition of Bhagavan. Yeah. That we also talked about during the invocation verse. One should therefore be intelligent enough to know that except for the Lord, no one is the proprietor of anything. One should accept only the things which are set aside by the Lord as his quota. The cow, for example, gives milk, but she does not drink the milk. Her milk is designated as food for a human being. The cow eats grass and straw, but does not drink her own milk. Such is the arrangement of the Lord, and we should be satisfied with the things that have been very kindly set aside for us by him. We should always consider to whom the things that we possess actually belong. Ishavasya medam sarvam yad kincha jagatam jagat tena tek tena bundita magrida kasya svidanam. Yeah, so we shouldn't be greedy for all things which are coming from the Lord. We only use what is our quota, remembering that it is from him. So the example was given here that the cow is not drinking her own milk. Yeah, she actually gives to others. We could also do that. So take, for example, our dwelling house, which is made of earth, wood, stone, iron, cement, and so many other material things. If we think in terms of Śrī Īśopaniṣad, then we must know that we cannot produce any of the above-mentioned building materials ourselves. We can simply bring them together and transform them into different shapes by our labor. A laborer cannot claim to be the proprietor of a thing just because he has worked hard to manufacture it. There is always this great quarrel between the laborers and the capitalists in present-day society. The quarrel has now taken an international shape, and the world is in danger. Men face one another in enmity, just like cats and dogs snaring. Śrī Īśopaniṣad cannot give advice to the cats and dogs, but it delivers the message of God to man through the bona fide acharyas or holy teachers. And the human race may take this Vedic wisdom from Śrī Īśopaniṣad, that no one should quarrel over material possessions. One must be satisfied by whatever by whatever privileges are given to him by the mercy of the Lord. There can be no peace if the communist or the capitalist or any other party claims to be the proprietor of the resources of nature, which are entirely the property of the Lord. Okay, the capitalists cannot curb down the communists simply by political maneuvering, nor can the communist defeat the capitalist simply by fighting for the stolen bread. If they do not recognize the proprietorship of the Supreme Personality of God, then all the property they claim to be their own is stolen, and therefore they should be liable to punishment by the laws of nature. So what is Prabhupada saying here? If they do not recognize the proprietorship of the Supreme Personality of God. So this is also mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. I think that's in 3rd chapter. That if one enjoys the gifts of material nature without making a sacrifice to God, or at least to the gods, then punkte stena eva hi saha. Then one is just a thief enjoying these gifts. If one doesn't show, the gratitude, it's a way of showing gratitude to make a sacrifice. It's not that the gods or Krishna doesn't need our sacrifice, but it's just like somebody is giving you a nice meal. It's just natural to say thank you. Yeah, so this is our way to say thank you by making yagya. Does it make sense? Yeah. So Yagya Shishta Sinaha Shanta Bunjate. So Krishna also says that one should make a yagya. There, okay, thank you. It was confirmed. Yes. Yeah. So those who are, for example, offering their food, yagya Shishta Sinaha Santa. Krishna says these are santa. These are santas. These are saintly. So to be a pious, saintly person, one can do that. Yeah. Okay. So so that means the bread. The bread is coming from the Lord, and we should do a sacrifice of the bread, and then we can eat the bread. So that's a way of acknowledging that the Lord is actually there. That we don't disregard His existence. It's just a matter of relationship. It doesn't need to be done in a very complicated way, the sacrifice. As we have heard many times, the sacrifice needed is simply to acknowledge the name of the Lord. That should be within the capacity of everyone. Okay, so Prabhupada says, one must be satisfied by whatever privileges are given. Okay, we already read that. Yeah. The bomb is in the hands of both the communists and the capitalists, and if both do not recognize the proprietorship of the Supreme Lord, it is sure and certain that ultimately the bomb will ruin both parties. What is a bomb? Is it an atom bomb? Maybe Prabhupada is speaking about. I think so. I think he is referring to Russia and America, probably. It was written in the 70s. Therefore, in order to save themselves, both must follow the instructions of Śrī Īśopaniṣad and thus bring peace to the world. Good. Yeah. Let's take a look at next page. Oh, sorry, I didn't put. I guess you are following on the YouTube, or you have your own. Otherwise, I can just put up the book for you here also on Zoom. I'll do that. That should be quick. Meanwhile, try and meditate on what we have been reading. Yeah. Okay. So today we take text 1 again, since The recording to YouTube last time was not stable. We lost a lot of recording. We will not use too long time on text 1, however. We will mainly focus on text 2. Yeah, YouTube is okay. Thank you. Okay, so let's take a look at... This is the last page, anyway, of the purport to text 1. Human beings are not meant for quarreling like cats and dogs. They must be intelligent enough to realize the importance of human life and to realize the aim of human life. The Vedic literature is meant for humanity and not for cats and dogs. Cats and dogs can kill other animals for food, and for that there is no question of sin on their part. But if a man kills an animal for the satisfaction of his uncontrolled taste buds, he is responsible for breaking the laws of nature, and therefore he must be punished. There is a standard of life for human beings which cannot apply to the animals. The tiger does not eat rice, wheat or cow's milk because it has been given its quota of foodstuff in the shape of animal food. There are many animals and birds who are either vegetarian or non-vegetarian, but none of them transgress the laws of nature as they have been ordained by the will of the Lord. Among the living beings, whether animals or birds or reptiles, there is strict adherence to the laws of nature, and therefore there is no question of sin for them, nor are the Vedic instructions meant for them. Human life alone, then, is a life of responsibility. So what is that called? Life of responsibility is called dharma. Yeah. So dharma, you can say it's a nature, but usually when we talk about dharma, we talk about the human duties, because dharma is just going on automatically for the animals. They don't have philosophical inquiries. The dharma for a human being, however, is to have philosophical inquiries. Okay, to do sacrifices to the gods, especially to Krishna. Actually, if you do sacrifice to the Supreme Lord, then all the other gods are also satisfied. Yasmin tushte, jagat tushte, and the universe will be satisfied with us. Yeah. If you show such a responsibility, then at least we will get another human life form. It said in Bhagavatam that simply by being in Rajaguna, one can be getting another human life. Being in Tamaguna, one goes down to lower species of life, lower than human beings. And in Sattvaguna, one gets up to higher species if one dies in this mode. If one stays in Rajaguna, at least one will have a proper human life. To stay in the real pure Rajaguna will be to follow the Vedic sacrifices. And of course, we know transcendental to the gunas is bhakti. That's why it's called Pancha Purushartha, the fifth goal of life. I can write the goals of life here so we have that clear also. It's Kama, Artha, Dharma, Moksha. Yep. So Kama, what does Kama mean? Means sense pleasure. Yeah. Artha, wealth. Dharma, justice. Yeah. Moksha, liberation. These are the 4 goals of human life. But fifth goal of human life, what is that? Very difficult question. That is bhakti. In other words, if one does bhakti yoga, one's other duties in life will be fulfilled. Yeah. It is also wrong to consider that simply by becoming a vegetarian one can save himself from transgressing the laws of nature. Vegetables also have life. One life is meant to feed another living being, and that is the law of nature. One should not be proud of being a strict vegetarian. The animals have not developed consciousness to recognize the Lord, but a human being is sufficiently intelligent to take lessons from the Vedic literature and thereby know how the laws of nature are working and derive profit out of such knowledge. If a man neglects the instructions of the Vedic literature, his life is very risky. The human being is therefore required to recognize the authority of the Supreme Lord. He must be a devotee of the Lord. He must offer everything to the service of the Lord and partake of only the remnants of foodstuff offered to the Lord. That will make him able to discharge his duty properly. In the Bhagavad-gita, the Lord directly states that he accepts the vegetable foodstuffs from the hands of a pure devotee. Krishna said in Bhagavatam, Bhakti uparitam ashnami priyata atmana. He says, I accept which has been offered with love to me in devotion, that I eat. Therefore, a human being should not only become a strict vegetarian, but he should also be a devotee of the Lord and offer to the Lord all his food, and only then partake of the prasadam or mercy of God. Such a devotee can properly discharge the duty of human life. Those who do not do so are eating only sins, and thus will be subjected to different types of distress, which are the results of the various sins. The root of sin is deliberate disobedience to the laws of nature, through not recognizing the proprietorship of the Lord. Disobedience to the laws of nature or disobedience to the order of the Lord will bring ruin to the human being. On the other hand, if one is sober and knows the laws of nature without being influenced by unnecessary attachment or abhorrence, he is sure to be recognized again by the Lord and thus become eligible to go back to God, back to the eternal home. Yeah, so Prabhupada sums it up clearly here that the root of sin is deliberate disobedience to the law of nature. So in other words, if one is not deliberately disobeying the laws of nature, there is no sin then. So the animals, are they deliberately disobeying? Yeah, abhorrence. Okay, let's look up that word. Anybody wants to do that service? Sorry, I don't know what it means. Yeah. It means something negative. I have a feeling. Yeah. Where was this mentioned, this word abhorrence? Yeah? What did you say? Oh, it's in the chat. Yeah. Oh, no, it's no answer. Okay, still we are in ignorance what abhorrence means. Yeah. Okay, so anyway, Prabhupada is saying, who can do the deliberate disobedience to the laws of nature? As mentioned before, it's a man, yeah, human. Animals, they cannot do that. Sorry, we lost the YouTube connection again. Now it's back. So who cannot do their duty according to spiritual life? That is the that must be the human beings who are very caught up. Okay, here we have abhorrence means a feeling of revulsion, disgusted, loathing. The thought of marrying him filled her with abhorrence. So disgust, yeah, to be repulsed, disgust. Yeah, thank you. So where was it mentioned? Yeah. On the other hand, if one is sober and knows the laws of nature without being influenced by unnecessary attachment. Okay, so we shouldn't be unnecessarily attached or repulsed. Yeah. So we shouldn't love something too much or hate something too much. It's better to be neutral. Because what is a neutral platform? Sattva Guna. Yeah? Do you write that here? Yeah, so just like Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, also he says raga dvesha vimuktastu. He says you be free from raga and dvesha. Yeah, raga means attachment, and dvesha means abhorrence. Yeah. Yeah. So Krishna wants us to be free from attachment and abhorrence, because otherwise we are too caught up in the dualities. Yeah. Attachments. They are, they are creating havoc in our spiritual life. Icha dvesha samutina said we are born into this. So attachment and abhorrence is also called icha and dvesha. Yeah. Attachment and disgust. Yeah. Or attachment and we can use another. We can say like and repulsion. Yeah. Let's see in another way. Does this make sense? Thumbs up and thumbs down. Yeah. That I guess should be then very clear. So these are, what are these? Dualities. Dualities of material perception. Yeah. So if we are too much into the material perception, then it will block the spiritual perception. So Prabhupada says, eligible to go back to God, back to the eternal home. So in other words, where there is eternity, where there is eternal home, where there is eternal home, there is no material love, hate. Yeah. Love, hate, that can also be another way of saying icha dvesha. Okay, so that was. Let's now go to mantra 2. Finally, anybody on Zoom like to read?
Yes, Prabhu, I can read.
Thank you. You can read the Sanskrit also?
Yes, but I want to open the book. 1 second.
Yeah, did you find it?
I'll be reading. I'll be reading mantra 2, right?
Yes, mantra 2. Yeah.
Okay. Kurvam evaha karmani.
Kurvan evaha karmani.
Jiji vise shatam samaha.
Jiji visekchatam samaha.
evam tvavi nan yata hetosti
evam tvayanyatetosti
na karma lipyate nara.
na karma lipyate nare.
One more time, should I read book?
No, it's okay. You can just read the word for word and the translation and like that.
Kurvan, doing continuously. Eva, thus. Iha, during this span of life. Karmani, work. Jiji, we said, one should desire to live. Satam, 100. Samaha, years. Evam, so living. Tvyayi, unto you. Na, no. Anyata, alternative. Itha, from this path. Asti, there is. Na, not. Karma, work. Lipyate, can be bound. Nare, unto a man. Translation. One may aspire to live for hundreds of years. If he continuously goes on working in that way, for that sort of work will not bind him to the law of karma. There is no alternative to this way for man. Purport. No one wants to die. Everyone wants to live as long as he can drag on. This tendency is visible not only individually but also collectively in the community, society and nation. There is a hard struggle for life by all kinds of living entities, and the Vedas say that this is quite natural. The living being is eternal by nature, but due to his bondage in material existence, he has to change his body over and over. This process is called transmigration of the soul or karma bandhana, bondage by one's work. The living entity has to work for his livelihood because that is the law of material nature, and if he does not act according to his prescribed duties, he transgresses the law of nature and binds himself more and more to the cycle of birth and death in the many species of life. Do we want to discuss and then I will read rest?
Yeah, let's see. So no one wants to die. Everyone wants to live as long as he can drag on. Yeah. So this paragraph is talking about how karma, or rather the karma bandhana, the bondage to karma, it causes actually death. Yeah. You can read the second paragraph, and then we'll discuss that.
Yeah. Other life forms are also subject to the cycle of birth and death. But when the living entity attains a human life, he gets a chance to get free from the chains of karma. Karma, akarma, and vikarma are very clearly described in the Bhagavad Gita. Actions that are performed in terms of one's prescribed duties, as mentioned in the revealed scriptures, are called karma. Actions that free from one from the cycle of birth and death are called akarma. And actions that are performed through the misuse of one's freedom and that direct one to the lower forms are called vikarma. Of these three types of action, that which frees one from the bondage to karma is preferred by intelligent men. Ordinary men wish to perform good work in order to be recognized and achieve some higher status of life in this world or in heaven. But more advanced men want to be free altogether from the actions and reactions of work. Intelligent men well know that both good and bad work equally bind one to the material miseries. Consequently, they seek that work which will free them from the reactions of both good and bad work. Such liberating work is described here in the pages of Śrī Īśopaniṣad.
Okay, let's see now. Out of these three categories of activities, the one which makes one free from the cycle of further bondage to karma is preferred by intelligent men. Ordinary men want to perform good work in order to be recognized and to achieve some status of life in this world or in heaven. But more advanced men want to be free altogether. So we have three types of work. Was mentioned earlier. You have karma, akarma, and vikarma. So let's take a look at them. See here. Karma. Let's just write karma and vikarma, and then karma. So the karma we talk about here, then it means pious. So that is pious work. Pious, and vikarma means impious. Or you can say illegal. Or sinful, that's better, Sinful. Actually, illegal is best, is easiest to remember. Illegal. And then vikarma means, now akarma means transcendental. Transcendental. So that's the same as devotional service. So in that way, those who are actually intelligent, they will do the Pancha Purushartha. They will do the fifth goal of life, which is to do bhakti yoga. In that way, they will avoid both pious and illegal work. The pious work one does is taking one up to heavenly planets. The vikarma, or illegal, that means things that are going against laws of nature. For example, if one gets into the meat eating, using drugs and all these things, then one is, acting more like a, acting more like a rough human being. So the best human being would be a, very gentle human being. That human being would, ascend upwards to godly life. Person who is very much, getting into the rough side of human life will go down and become, an animal, because that's a platform for rough activities. So let's see if I go back here and see. So the human species of life is again, it's for dharma, and dharma would then mean at least to be doing, pious karma, punya karma. Dharmena hina parshibi samana. If one doesn't do, the proper dharma, doing at least, pious activities, following human society's laws as given by Krishna, then one is becoming animal or even plant in the next life. Is it clear?
Yes, Prabhu.
So, and then, the path of bhakti yoga is so superior that there is no danger of becoming, a plant or animal in the next life, and there is even no consideration of going up and becoming, a heavenly citizen. The devotee is simply, concerned about pleasing Krishna wherever he is, even he be in heaven, in the earthly realm, or even in hell. Apitulya artha darshanam. It says that the devotee is tulya, is equipoised in every situation, because the devotee is always serving Krishna wherever he go. Svarga pavarga narakesh apitulya artha darshana. Can be in Svarga. In Svarga we go if we do punya karma. Apavarga, that is a medium platform, that means earthly planet. And then Narak lok, that is hellish life. But the devotee will be equipoised in whatever condition. Yeah. So this second paragraph, it talks about how human life offers liberation through akarma specifically, and what is leading to akarma. Akarma, in other words, it is transcendence. So I will read the instructions of Śrī Īśopaniṣad. It's better explained in the Bhagavad Gita. So here Prabhupada is highlighting that Bhagavad Gita may, actually explain it better, because Īśopaniṣad, after all, is just 18 verses. Yeah, Bhagavad Gita is sometimes called the Gita Upanishad, the cream of all the Upanishads. In the Bhagavad Gita, you know why Prabhupada is saying that? Because you have the Gita Mahatmya. Sarva Upanishado Gavo. So in the Gita Mahatmya of 8 verses, and one of the verses says that this is the this is a cow, or wish fulfilling cow of all the Upanishads. And the one who milks the nectar of this cow will get everything needed. And the calf, as you know, there needs to be a calf to milk the cow. The cow is giving milk because there is a calf nearby. So who is the calf? That is Arjuna. So it's because Arjuna was there that Krishna spoke the Gita Upanishad. So in a similar way, a cow will give milk. If she thinks there is a calf there, human being can come and she actually think in her meditation she is giving out a motherly love to even the human being, who she then will consider to be the calf. So if a human being becomes a devotee of Krishna, then Krishna similarly will be like the cow giving the nectar of the Gita. Does it make sense? Yep.
Yes, Prabhu.
So in the Bhagavad Gita, the personality of Godhead says that no one can attain the state of Naish karma or akarma without beginning. So in other words, Naish karma is the same as akarma. Yeah. It is the same as you say nir karma, like nirvan, nir is no karma. Yeah. So one cannot attain that state without beginning the prescribed duties mentioned in the Vedic literature. So what are the prescribed duties? Then you have Varnashram Dharma. Yep. You have, Shudra, Vaishya, Kshatriya, Brahmana, Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyas. This is Varnashram Dharma. One has to follow this in order to elevate oneself, to become a human citizen, according to the Vedas. The Vedic literature can regulate the working energy of a human being in such a way that he can gradually realize the authority of the Supreme Being. When one realizes the authority of the personality of Godhead, it is to be understood that he has attained the stage of positive knowledge. At this purified stage of life, where the modes of nature, namely goodness, passion, and ignorance, cannot act, one is enabled to work on the basis of Naish karma, or work which does not bind one to the cycle of birth and death. Is this understood? Let's see. When one realizes the authority of the personality of Godhead, it is to be understood that he has attained the stage of positive knowledge. What does positive knowledge mean? Well, you have two kinds of knowledge. One is called jnana and another is called vijnana. So jnana is sometimes also called shuksha jnana, is dry knowledge, it's theoretical. But is vijnana theoretical? No, vijnana is realized. So that is actually the positive knowledge. One actually realizes is no longer theory. Yep. And that stage has also been mentioned in Upanishad as being the state where one can properly distinguish between Sat and Asat. Asatoma Satgamaya. Go away from the temporary, go to the eternal. So that is Vijnana. One distinguishes between what is spiritual and what is material, and one is choosing the spiritual. As a result of that, one can enter Ananda. which is entered through performing bhakti. Positive action from the spiritual platform. Otherwise, you have many paths which wants to just merge with Brahman. So not doing any service to Lord on that platform. Then one may not get that spiritual positive knowledge. One may just have the Brahman realization. And in that way, one doesn't realize the authority of the personality of Godhead, because one thinks the personality of Godhead is non-different from oneself on the Brahman platform. You understand? So one has to go beyond the Brahman platform and become a Bhakta. Then he has attained that stage, called Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma Nasorchati Nakanchati. On the Brahman platform, if one serves Krishna, then one is supposed to be the Brahma Bhuta. And then one is experiencing prashanna or ananda. And then there will be no ichand-vesha, na sorchati, na kankshati. No sorrow and no hankering. Does it make sense? Yep.
Yes, bro.
Okay, so, I got a question there. Haribol, can I join the meeting, or is it only on YouTube? Oh yeah, thank you, Marcel. Can I tell you, or do I have to write in the chat? I'll write in the chat quickly. Go to our Bhakti Shastri conference and find Zoom link there. Yeah. So I hope you find the Zoom link there, Prabhu. Otherwise, you are welcome to just, give your input here in the chat box. My phone was blocking the chat box. That's why I didn't see your message before now. Sorry, but now I moved it to the other side. Yeah. Yeah. So, actually, I could move. I could put the Zoom link right there. Actually, I'll do that. Just give me a second. That should be within, our capacity. I have it right here. That doesn't hurt. Yeah, there you have it. So please join. Because on because on YouTube we cannot hear the chat, the voice chat, but that we can do on Zoom. Yeah. Okay, so let's see if we can read on here. Where were we? Yeah. So at this purified stage of life, where the modes of nature, namely goodness, passion, and ignorance, cannot act, one is enabled to work on the basis of Naishkarmya, or work which does not bind one to the cycle of birth and death. So this is the stage we want to attain, okay? Where goodness, passion, and ignorance cannot act. Well, they're always acting. What is stated here? How can it be? Well, they cannot act on us because we are, after all, we are the pure, soul. Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma Nasorchati Nakanchati. There will be no hankering or sadness from the gunas. When one is actually, experiencing the pure energy of the Lord in His service. So this paragraph is talking that the Vedas are ultimately leading to akarma. That's the purpose of this paragraph there. In a nutshell, that the Vedas, following the Vedas will bring us there. So I read the next paragraph. Factually, no one has to do anything more than to render devotional service to the Lord. In the lower stage of life, however, one cannot... No, sorry. In the lower stage of life, however, one cannot at once adopt the activities of devotional service, nor can one completely stop reactionary work. So what is reactionary work? That means either karma or vikarma, because even the pious activities, as we mentioned, they are giving, the result of enjoyment, heavenly enjoyment, which is also binding. And of course the vikarma or impious activities, they are giving, hellish reactions. So it's not easy to just immediately stop doing things that causes either pious or impious results. It's not easy, in other words, to immediately just jump on the transcendental devotional service to Krishna, because that is not making any pious reaction or any impious reaction. Is it clear? It doesn't create that. If you do, for example, if you cook for the Lord in the temple, this is not going to give you heavenly reward or hellish reward. It's just going to increase our bhakti. So what is that called? I'll write it here. Because it gives something, and that's another sukriti, which is not punya sukriti or papa krit. It is called bhakti unmukha sukriti. Yeah. Yeah, it goes, it goes for bhakti, all that. So it will increase our bhakti. You understand? It will not increase our heavenly reward or hellish punishment. It will just increase bhakti. So it will be beyond. Yeah, but in the lower stages of life, we cannot at once do that. So then what Prabhupada writes, a conditioned soul is accustomed to working for sense gratification, for his own selfish interest, immediate or extended. So in other words, either just directly for, say I can cook and I can do it just immediately for my own tongue satisfaction, or I can do it for my family's also satisfaction. That will be, the extended. An ordinary man wants to work for his own sense enjoyment, and when the principle of sense enjoyment is extended from the individual to include the collective society, nation, or humanity in general, it assumes various attractive names such as altruism, socialism, communism, nationalism, humanitarianism, etc. These isms are certainly very attractive forms of karma bandhana, the bondage of one's work. But the Vedic instruction of Śrī Īśopaniṣad is as follows: if you actually live for any of the above isms, make them God-centered. There is no harm in becoming a family man, an altruist, socialist, communist, nationalist, or humanitarian, provided all such activities are executed in relation with Ishavasya, the God-centered conception. Does it make sense? So the only thing is just include God. Yeah. Just include God, and you'll be good to go. Yep. So this paragraph is saying that begin by bringing God into sense gratification life. Yeah, that's the start. That's the start of our spiritual life. Yeah. So what do we do? The best example is that we want to eat nice food, but then we just offer the food to Krishna, and we still eat what we like to eat. So in that way we include him in our enjoyment. On a higher level, then one will actually meditate on the Lord's sense enjoyment of what we are cooking. Yeah, that's a higher level. But the start is simply to include him in our enjoyment. We will offer to him what we ourselves are enjoying. Yep. So Prabhupada says further on, God-centered activities are evaluated in the Bhagavad Gita as being so rich that even a little bit of them can save one from the greatest danger. The greatest danger of life is to glide down again into the evolutionary cycle of birth and death. If some way or other a man misses the spiritual opportunity offered by his human form of life, and thus glides down again into the evolutionary cycle, it must be considered the most regrettable incidents. Yeah, so that means, what does it mean? It simply means here that he's not going to have, human body his next life. He's going to get animal body or plant or something like that. Yeah. That means he glides down into the evolutionary cycle. Yeah. It must be considered the most regrettable incident, although foolish man cannot see this due to his defective senses. Śrī Īśopaniṣad advises us therefore to exert our energy in the Īśavasya spirit, and in that engagement we may wish to live for many, many years. Otherwise, one's long life is no better than that of a tree, which is also a living being, and which lives for hundreds and hundreds of years. There is no point in living a long time like trees, or breathing like the bellows, or begetting children like the hog and the dog, or eating like the camel. Even a humble life with God-centered activities is more valuable than the colossal hoax of so-called altruism or socialism without any relation to God. So let's go back to see the verse itself. What did it say? It said, one may aspire to live for hundreds of years if he continuously goes on working in that way. What way? That was said in the previous. So what is the way referred to here? It was everything animate and inanimate that is within the universe is controlled and owned by the Lord. We should therefore accept only those things necessary for himself, which are set aside as his quota, and one must not accept other things, knowing well to whom they belong. So that is the way, to not use more than one needs. So if one works in that way, not without greed, without collecting what one doesn't need to collect. Actually, the only way to do that, it is to do service to God. Yeah. Īśavasya sarvam. So it is the Īśavasya principle to work for Isha, to work for the Supreme Controller. That's the indication here, that one should accept only that which is our quota, but that doesn't mean only that. It means that we should, whatever we are getting, what should we do with that? We should use it in the service of the Lord, right? Because only then there will be no law of karma binding, because then our work will be karma. Remember that? Karma. That is devotional service to the Lord. That is what we are talking about. Is it understandable? We're actually talking about that we can live for 100 years. If we do devotional service to the Lord, there is no problem to be in this world for 100 years. Yeah. Thank you. There's no problem. If we don't do devotional service to the Lord, will we have a problem? Yes or no? Because then we will have to suffer reactions from whatever bad we do. And even whatever good we do, we become attached to that. It never lasts forever. Say we go to heaven, even that doesn't last forever. After that we have to get back to earth again to build up new karma, because earth is the karma bhumi. It's a place where we are making karma. Yeah? Do you make karma on the heavenly planets? Yes or no? No. In heavenly planets, you're only harvesting your good karma, like taking the fruits. Yeah, eating the nice fruits. Say you have planted a fruit tree, worked very hard to give it nourishment and so on, and then the fruits are coming. You're enjoying the fruits, but is the fruit tree's fruits lasting forever? No. After these fruits are finished, one has to go back again and work. Yeah. So Earth, I'll write that here also. Earth planet, that is karma. That's called in Sanskrit karma bhumi. Is not a literal translation, but it means the what can you call the earth of work. Yeah. Yeah. It means the earth of work. Yeah. That's what it is. It's a place where everybody has to work. Now, what about the animals? They are living out their bad karma. Yes. So I write that, do you have any space to write? I don't have that. But anyway, this is easy to remember. Yes? Any comments? I thought I heard something from Zoom. Sorry, it was very brief. I couldn't hear what you said. Okay, so yeah, please tell me later if you like. So in other words, to live in the Earth planet, the best way is to do transcendental karma, because then we will go beyond the karma bhuvi and go not to heaven, we'll pass also through heaven. Beyond heaven, we'll enter the spiritual service to Krishna, which is not affected by either good or bad karma, and that's why it is eternal. Is it possible to understand that? Eternal, I'll write it here. Eternal, it means it can only be eternal if it's devotional service. Yeah. So what we call seva. Devotional service is also called seva. Krishna seva. Yeah. Krishna seva. Eternal situation. Yeah. The other types of seva or pious or impious work is not eternal, they're temporary. Yeah. That's why one is advised to rather go for bhakti yoga, because it gives lasting results. Other things are flickering, they're coming and going. Yep. Yeah, so Prabhupada is further eulogizing devotional services that God-centered activities are evaluated in Bhagavad Gita as being so rich that even a little bit of them can save one from the greatest danger. Yeah, that's the verse. Krishna says that just alpa, just a little bit, saving you from the greatest fear. And the greatest danger of life, as Prabhupada says, is to glide down again into the illusionary cycle of birth and death. Yeah. Yeah, so we read also that paragraph here. So even a humble life with God-centered activities is more valuable than the colossal hoax. So Prabhupada calls it a hoax to be altruist. Because altruist, as far as I remember, it does mean that one loves the human being, one wants to help other human beings. But Prabhupada says if it doesn't have any relation to God, then it may just be mundane and actually not giving, the results we really are after. The real result we want is to actually be free from repeated birth and death. Yeah. Janma mrityu jara vyadi dokha dosha anudarsanam. A person who is actually wise will see that there is problem with repeated birth, death, old age, and disease. So Prabhupada writes further on, when activities such as altruism are executed in the spirit of Śrī Īśopaniṣad, every one of them becomes a form of karma yoga, as is recommended in the Bhagavad Gita. So please note what Prabhupada is saying here. This is the amazing thing about Bhakti Yoga, because it transforms whatever activity we may do, which may be mundane. Say you are working in a car shop. Yep, that's an example. Is working in a car shop mundane or is it spiritual? Yes, it's mundane. But if you are a devotee, you think about Krishna. Every day you are chanting Hare Krishna. You are reading books about Krishna. You feel that you are a devotee of Krishna and you want to progress. You come to temple every Sunday. Now you're still working in a car shop. Is it mundane? Yes or no? Actually, it's not mundane anymore because you are a devotee. Now you're spiritualizing that car shop. Because if we're actually devotee, we will think that Krishna has put us in this position. Krishna has a plan for my life. I am serving Krishna by doing a good as work as possible in the car shop. That is called karma yoga. To remember Krishna in our seemingly mundane, duty. That is karma yoga. That's really our process. Yeah. So when activities such as altruism are executed in the spirit of Śrī Īśopaniṣad, so in other words, there is no problem to also be altruist, to want to share the food with the people who are hungry in other places of the world, collect money to give to people where there has been nature catastrophe. There is no problem to do that. If we think that we are doing this as a service to Krishna, it is karma yoga, and it is recommended in the Bhagavad Gita, and that guarantees the executor against the dangers of, the evolutionary process of birth and death. So one becomes free from birth and death simply by doing karma yoga. What to speak of doing bhakti yoga directly? Such God-centered activities, even though half-finished, are still good for the executor because they will guarantee him the human form of life in his next birth. So that's amazing. Even though they're half-finished, that's pretty promising. Sounds very, very comforting to understand that. Because as I mentioned, it's called Bhakti Unmukha Sukriti. So the result, even though we didn't finish, is still remembered by Krishna. And we will continue from where we left off in the next life or next chance we're getting, even if we fall away from the path. Yeah, because they will guarantee him the human form of life in his next birth. So a human form of life he will definitely get. And in this way, he can have another chance to improve his position on the path of liberation. It's also mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita. Tatratam buddhisamyugam purvate povradehikam. Povradehikam. Yeah, so the previous deha, the previous body. Tatratam buddhisamyogam, he will remember actually, he will in his intelligence with some or other, he will again be linked to that. Samyoga. Yeah. Labate Paurva Dehikam. Whatever he achieved, Labha, in his previous body, now we're talking about devotional, the spiritual practice. So say you achieve to be, chanting 16 rounds in this life, and be quite Krishna conscious, and then we die. Next life, we will continue from there. Yep. That's what Bhagavad Gita says. So this last paragraph, the two last paragraphs, that if you go away from God, then actually if you was said here that there is no point. If we live a life not considering God at all, then that is a life in vain. That's called Shrama Eva Kevalam. That's hard labor for nothing. That Prabhupada says. In the last paragraph, it said that make all altruisms into karma yoga. So whatever good we want to do to the world, we can make that into karma yoga. I'll see if I can write it somewhere. See, just give me a second. Maybe you can think about if you have any comments or questions. Now we finished both verse 1 and verse 2. We still have some time. If something is unclear you want to discuss. In the meantime, I'll just jot down these points here. Just give me a few seconds. So
Prabhu? What's the difference between karma yoga and Isavasya?
So actually it is the same here. Here we're talking about Krishna karma yoga. So if we're working for with the meditation of Krishna, this is the Ishavasya principle. It's the same. So Ishavasya, the word in itself. We can take a look at that word, because Vasya, it means to be controlled. And Isha also means to controller. So so everything is controlled by the controller. So in other words, when we work thinking that the Lord is a controller of everything, then we are doing karma yoga. Yeah, yagyartam karma nanyatra lokayam karma bandhana. That's also what's said in Bhagavad Gita. We're working for yagya, or we work, as a sacrifice to the Lord. Otherwise, we are bound by the work. So in other words, He is controlling us. If we don't work for Him, we are bound, by the reactions, either good reaction or bad reaction. Because what happens, who is taking the reaction? That's the important thing here. I'll write it here. Who takes reaction? Yep. Like just in the analysis, it's the ego. Yep. It's the ego who takes the reaction, right? And the ego is called ahankara. But that is actually a fool. Vimudatma. Yeah. Karta aham iti manyate. So this is also stated elsewhere in Bhagavad Gita. We are taking reaction when we think we are doing it, because that is called ahankara, or false ego. Vimuda atma. Atma is actually us. We are the soul. Karta aham. Then I think I am the doer. Yeah, does it make sense? But when not taking reaction, so say no reaction, reaction for us. So you can say no false ego. Yep. And then dasa, anudasa. So then we are just servant of the servant of the servant of the servant of the servant. Yep. We're just a servant. So then we don't get reaction. The example Prabhupada gives many times is that example that if you are a servitor in the army, yeah, and sent out in the army to fight, and one may kill somebody in the army, in the war, is what happens in the war. But if you are an army soldier, you will not be taken to the court for killing, right? Because who takes the responsibility? The government. Yep. Army soldier not taking sin. Yeah. Because ordered by the government. Then government takes the responsibility. Yep. Government takes the government takes their own responsibility. So if you're working for God, now we're talking, to actually, work. Then one has to work. Work for God means work for God. Means karma yoga, as we already mentioned, under spiritual master. Then it's safe. So we do karma yoga, but we also do it by guidance from the spiritual master, right? Then it's safe work. Yeah. Mikaela says yes, it is clear. Very good, thank you. So if anybody wonders, we can discuss more. Hopefully we can find out. Yeah. So karma yoga would mean that one is not taking, the reaction, because it's by the order of Krishna through the spiritual master. Yep. You can say here that spiritual master is supposed to be the mouthpiece of Krishna. Yep. Guru, he is representative. Of Krishna. Yeah, isn't it so? So that is the belief, yeah? Oh, oh, I write too much. Yeah. So in that way, but one mustn't be, a completely, one has to check, because one needs to make sure Guru is acting according to Shastra also. So you have three: Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. Yeah. The check and balance system. Because one should accept Guru if the Guru is following, the Shastra, the scriptures. Yeah. And how to know? One has to also talk with the sadhus, other people who are practicing. Yeah. But sometimes it's said, how can we know? So check and balance system. That is Guru, Sadhu, Shastra. Yeah. So then sometimes the argument is, how can you know? Well, you can ask the sadhus, but then you can say, but the sadhus, they may not be on the same level as the Guru. But my Guru Maharaj, he gave an example. So say there are say for example that a person, he doesn't know to cook, right? He doesn't know how to make food, right? He's not a good cook. But if somebody is cooking and he's getting the food to eat, can he understand, whether that cook knows how to cook or not? Right? He can still, see that, okay, this is a good cook, right? Although he himself doesn't know how to cook. Does it make sense? So in the same way, a sadhu can understand that this is a real guru. Although the sadhu himself is maybe not on the highest level, but just by seeing can understand this person is, good. Yep. In the same way that I may not know how to cook, but I can see of the activities and taste, what somebody else is doing, and I can understand whether that person is a good cook or not a good cook. Yeah. So in the same way, I can know whether, that person is a good guru or a bad guru simply by observation. That's the idea. And we can check it, especially with Shastra. There are, the qualities of the guru, which also is mentioned in the Upadeshamrita, which was the first book we studied, Nectar of Instruction. And in that way, we find the guru, and then we can work under the guru, and then we will do karma yoga in a safe way. And of course, this is just an analogy of being the army soldier. It's pretty harmless, our work we are doing. We're just eating and working, you can say. But still, it's said that even eating will give you, sinful reactions if you don't do that also as a service to God. Yep. But simply by the meditation that we are indeed serving Lord, because that's the nature of the living entity. Nature of living entity is to be a servant. Yep. Nature of Jiva, it is servant. Servant of the Lord. Yeah. So that way it is nature to serve Him. When we act in that nature, we will act according to spiritual nature. Yeah. And in that way, when we act according to spiritual nature, we are not under laws of material nature. Acting according to spiritual nature. Yeah. Let's see. I can put up this screen here. Let's see if I can make this. Yeah. Let's see if I can. Just give me a second now. I will. Yeah, that. I'll try and put up this picture I made here. Yeah, here it is. That. Took over. Okay, can you see this? What it says? Can you see this picture I put there on YouTube? Maybe not. Maybe it's not clear enough. Otherwise, I may write it. Yeah, I can put it in our conference. This is a summary of the 5 paragraphs, 6 paragraphs. What was, the points of the 6 paragraphs? Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it disappeared. Oh, here it is. Okay, here it is. So now on YouTube you can see this. So on text 2 today, so the first paragraph, it talked about how karma bandhana causes death. Yep. So, Prabhupada was speaking that no one wants to die, everyone wants to live. But because we are in the karma bandhana, we are bound up by karma, we are going to repeated birth and death. Yeah. And if we don't act according, to the Vedic laws, that we have to, act as a yajna, as a sacrifice for a higher cause, then we will just continue in that cycle. Yeah. So, and then the second paragraph it talks about how human life offers liberation through akarma. So akarma, it means then the same as transcendental work or devotional service. Yeah. So Prabhupada said there that this is the chance to get free from the chain of the low karma when he has a human body. They're described in the Bhagavatam. And akarma means action which makes one free from the cycle of birth and death. So for example, to cook for Krishna and offer the food to Krishna, this is akarma activities, because then the food we are eating is called prasad. It's not giving, the pious reactions or the impious reactions. It's simply giving bhakti unmukha sukriti. It's heightening our bhakti, our bhakti shakti. And then the third paragraph, it is said that Vedas lead ultimately to our karma. If you follow the Vedas, that means we are intelligent. We follow these prescriptions, these activities which free us from the cycle of further bondage to karma. So that is given in the Upanishads like this. And then, next paragraph, 4, begin by bringing God into sense gratificatory life. So what is the beginning of following, the karmic activities? Or to go in that direction, even though we may not immediately do service or transcendental work. In the beginning, we are linking up whatever, enjoyment we have with Krishna. Yep. As Prabhupada said, there is no harm in becoming a family man, an altruist, socialist, communist, nationalist, or humanitarian, provided all such activities are executed in relation with Ishavasya, the God-centered conception. Because then it is uplifting us. And gradually it will lead us to pure bhakti yoga. Because we include God in our life. Yeah. And then the next one, it says, we, O God, so I mean, without God. Sorry, it was a little short. Without God, everything is in vain. Yep. If God is completely out of the picture, then we are, definitely not going to get free from the chain of repeated birth and death. Yeah. And then the last one. make all altruisms into karma yoga. So let's do good activities for each other, for humanity, and so on, for nature, and but let's do them as karma yoga. It's just a matter of our own mindset that we meditate, that we're doing this as a service to Krishna. Can we say it's not possible? No, it's possible. Especially if we have contact with the spiritual master. We can just ask directly, is it okay we do this as a service to the Lord? And usually you will get a yes answer, because usually what we do is what we do according to our nature so far. We have you can say, ended up in such an activity. And if it's a good activity, certainly it can be offered to the Lord. Whatever good activity is in the world can be offered. It's usually just activities in the lower mode of destruction cannot be offered to the Lord because it's destructive. Yeah. Good activities definitely can be offered. Okay? So are we good? Any further comments or questions? Did it make sense? All these things?
Yes, no more questions from my end.
Very good. Okay, so then we'll stop there, and tomorrow we'll take mantra 3, and maybe we also have time for mantra 4. Let's see. So thank you so much. Hare Krishna.